Hey everyone. So let's just get right into it. AI is getting crazy good at language, right? It can write, translate, you name it. And it's easy to look at that and think, well, what's the point of me learning another language anymore? But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? Today, we're going to flip that idea on its head and talk about what it really means to learn a language in the age of AI. I mean, think about it. For so long, knowing another language, especially English, was like this golden ticket. It opened doors to better jobs, travel, a bigger world. But now you can just open a browser tab and get pretty decent English instantly. So yeah, the big question on everyone's mind is, why even bother? It's a real source of anxiety for learners for sure. But don't worry, there's a really powerful answer to that question. And here it is. This quote really nails it. This is not the time to panic. It's time for a reframe. See, the value of learning a language isn't just about spitting out perfect grammar anymore. Nope. It's shifting to something way, way deeper. Okay, so if it's not about being a perfect speaking machine, then what is the point? Well, this leads us to this fascinating and I think crucial new role for humans in a world just flooded with AI. And that role is what we're calling the meaning engineer. So what exactly is a meaning engineer? Look, you're not trying to beat the AI at its own game, like being a better grammar machine. No way. Your job is to outjudge it. Think about it. We're swimming in a sea of AI-generated text. The problem isn't a lack of words. The problem is knowing which direction to swim. That's the scarce resource now. It's about having the human judgment to pick the right tone, the right message for the right moment. It's about knowing what actually matters. And this, right here, is why learning a language is suddenly more important than it's ever been. It's the perfect gym, the perfect training ground for becoming a meaning engineer. Every time you choose a word, every time you try to understand a new phrase, you're not just memorizing stuff. You're practicing judgment. You're making choices. You're building that resilience you need to navigate this new world. All right. So how do we actually build these skills? It's one thing to talk about it, but how do you do it? Well, let's get practical. There's a framework we can use, and I want you to think of it like your own personal operating system for your brain. It's called the Human Five. Now, the Human Five isn't just a list. It's a loop. These skills all feed into each other. So let's quickly walk through them. It kicks off with taste. That's your gut check, knowing what feels right in a situation. That leads to momentum, building those daily habits. From there, you develop agency, the power to make choices that actually move you toward your goals. Then you've got velocity, which is all about learning how to learn faster. And this is all guided by your intent, your why, knowing who you're trying to become. And finally, maybe the most important one today, interpretability. That's your ability to stay cool and adapt when things go sideways, because they always do. And here's the really critical part. This isn't some checklist you pull out of your pocket. No, when all six of these things are working together, they become a part of you. It's an internal loop that just runs automatically. It's how you start to approach, everything, your job, a new project, even how you handle a crisis in your personal life. It becomes your default way of operating. Okay, that's the theory. It sounds good, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's jump into a couple of scenarios where this toolkit really shows its value. So, first scene. Picture a pretty common job today. You're in marketing at a tech company. The pressure is always on to create more, faster. And you're surrounded by AI tools that help you draft emails, crunch data, write social media posts, the whole shebang. Okay, so you have two people in this job. One has what we'll call the automation mindset. They just let the AI do its thing, copy, paste, and hit send. Done. But the meaning engineer, they do it differently. They use the AI as a starting point, a first draft. Then their real work begins. They apply their human judgment. Is the tone right for our customers? Are there any ethical blind spots here? What's the emotional risk of sending this message? See the difference? Their value isn't just about speed. It's about human care and interpretation. All right, now let's dial up the pressure. A lot. Imagine a real crisis hits, a natural disaster. Suddenly, clear communication is everything. Life or death even. But the internet is a mess. Misinformation is spreading like wildfire, fueled by bad machine translations and completely fake AI-generated news. In a moment like this, if you just rely on the raw AI output, you could actually make things worse. You could cause panic, spread confusion. It's dangerous. But the meaning engineer, they use the AI for what it's good at, speed. But then they apply their human taste to check the facts, to shape a message that's urgent but not terrifying. They build trust. They become that calm, stabilizing human voice in the middle of a digital hurricane. So you see, in both scenes, the marketing job and the crisis, knowing the language is obviously important. It's the foundation, but it's not the main event. The real star of the show is that whole set of human skills we've been talking about. Good judgment, resilience, knowing your purpose. That's what makes you valuable. That's what it means to be successful when the world needs human judgment more than ever. So how do we get there? This isn't just some big abstract theory. It's actually an invitation for all of us to start practicing these skills, to start making our human judgment something we can actually see and talk about. And the next steps are actually pretty simple. If you're a language learner, start thinking of AI as your sparring partner, not your replacement. After you use it, pause and ask yourself, okay, what's my human contribution here? If you're a teacher, try one tiny micro experiment next week. Just one thing that helps students practice their judgment. And if you're a designer, maybe try prototyping one course around this human 5 idea. The key is to just start small. Because what's the end goal of all this practice? It's about developing what you could call a human spine. It's about learning to stand tall and use these incredible tools and language itself with a strong, flexible human core. So if we put this all together, what does the language classroom of the future actually sound like? I can tell you what it's not. It's not a dead silent room of people just staring at screens. It's something much more alive. Yeah, sure, the computers and the devices will be there. You'll hear them humming in the background. But the louder hum, the hum that really truly matters, is the sound of human judgment being practiced out loud in real time. It's the sound of people debating, making mistakes and figuring it out, making tough choices, and really connecting with one another. That is the sound of language learners becoming truly future-proof.